you on that. Only because I have to disagree with you on that. You probably are right, and there's nothing to say what you're saying is wrong, but I'm going to go with a Colts win. I have really enjoyed watching them against the Washington Redskins. It was great to see Frank Reich get his first win. It was great to see Luck playing well, and our defense, everything was kicking on all cylinders. We want to talk about that game just a little bit. I was a little scratching my head a little bit about what went on and what kind of day Alex Smith had, because on paper and what we know about Alex Smith, he's a much better quarterback than what he was on Sunday.
Yeah, Alex Smith, I think, has kind of been a little inconsistent through his career, you could say. That's probably why he doesn't get all the love showered upon quarterbacks. But, yeah, he didn't play well. But, again, you have to credit the Colts defense. They were able to take away Adrian Peterson in that run game. And, Alex Smith couldn't deliver. And you have to wonder about, the kind of weapons he's throwing to also. I know they have a very good tight end. But you question his weapons and how good the Redskins really are. I know they won their opener against the Cardinals, but, I don't think the Cardinals are very good. So, I'm just not sure how good the Redskins are. But, listen, great win on the road in Washington for the Colts. And like you said, getting that first win for Frank Reich, that was just great to see.
Also, just on some Colts news, those that follow the Colts quite frequently, beat writer for the Indianapolis Colts, Bob Kravitz. Also, you might know him as the guy that broke the Deflategate story. Also broke numerous Peyton Manning stories. One could say that he won his Pulitzer Prize because of Peyton Manning. Was laid off from WTHR.com unexpectedly this week. I've checked with everybody that I know. And really, it's good news. I thought, there was something deeper than this, because certainly he was also the one that broke the Colts story regarding the Colts announcer and what he said. And so I thought maybe there might be something there that was hanging around. It wasn't. Apparently, it's just budget cutbacks. It's just business. He's got an enormous salary. He's earned it. So when I tried to reach out to him and talk to him, and he tweeted out, he goes, "Now I can pursue my dreams of being a dancer on Dancing with Stars." So he's really taking it in stride. They're going to let him stay on for a couple more months. They're going to pay out his contract. So he's going to be fine financially, and I'm sure that he'll land. And as you know, he was for many years a beat writer with the Indianapolis Star. So for those that might be following that story, that's kind of what happened there. But man, you see these people with big salaries, and then all of a sudden it can't be paid, and they got to go. We got to make a business decision here, Ed. So I have never experienced that, but I guess it happens.
Yeah, it happened to me, Tom. It happened to me.
True. Valid point. Touche. Yes. Touche.
It's just the nature of this business, man. It's just it's a tough industry. A lot of industries are, but the media is a very tough industry. They do like to kind of watch that bottom line. They bring in a lot of young kids, college kids that they can pay a lot less to. But that doesn't mean you kind of lose out on that wealth of information and knowledge that a more experienced writer has. That history that they bring and the ability to break stories like this writer did. But yeah, I mean, it happens to. Gosh, I don't know anybody that it hasn't happened to in this business, to be honest with you. It's just the nature of the game, unfortunately.
Absolutely. And for the record, we did reach out and invite him to come on and talk about it. One, he didn't really want to. He did tell me on the phone the other day that he appreciates the concern. Also, he's forbidden by his current employer, as the conditions of things, to not talk about it publicly in the media per se. So he's declined to come on today, but we'll watch his work. I'm quite certain that he will land on his feet somewhere, and with the connections that he has with the NFL, it won't be long before we see him again. Hey, speaking of news, if you will, a lot of hot takes around Vontae Davis, former Colt, obviously brother to Vernon Davis with the Washington Redskins. Halftime says, "That's it. I'm done. I'm out of here. See ya. Peace." One, disrespectful to the Bills. I get it. The Bills aren't the best team to play for, and I get it that you're on the tail end of your career anyway. But why not finish it out? Hey, you had a little bit of an injury. Why not just say, hey, because of injury-related stuff, I'm going to walk away and wait till after the game. I think it was very disrespectful to him, to the fans, and to the league, quite frankly, to just say at halftime, I'm done. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good look for Vontae at all to do it when he did it. But and I kind of tweeted this out as, in this climate of the NFL where, players are, struggling with CTE and concussions and, anxiety disorders and, other mental health issues. I would rather just kind of have all the facts here in the next few months, what might have been going through Vontae Davis's mind at that point. Could he be suffering from some kind of an affliction that we're unaware of? And, I know he's an easy target and quitting at halftime isn't a good look, but, you just wonder, like, maybe there's something more to it than just him saying, you know what, I'm done. I quit. That's it. So my feelings are I really don't want to jump on Vontae Davis here. I just think that there could be more to it, especially in the climate of the NFL, the way it is with the CTE issue and concussions. And, we don't know what's going through Vontae Davis's head at this point. He may not even know. He may be making decisions he doesn't even quite understand. So, I'm kind of on Davis's side on this one, and it's probably not a very popular place to be. But I'm not ready to judge him based on a decision that he made after being in the league for so long, because we don't know what may have led to that decision.
Well, another biblical reference, judge lest you be judged. Joining us also now is Mo from the BS Sports Show. Mo, we're talking a little bit about Vontae Davis saying at halftime, I'm done. Now, what are your thoughts?
Well, as a quitter myself, it didn't bother me at all. I heard you say, they thought it was a little disrespectful, but let's be honest, the product the Bills have put on the field this year has been disrespectful to all of us who've had to see it. Like Ed said, I don't have a problem with it, and with all the issues with people with CTE, and in my former profession, I've had numerous concussions. So, when and you think right now that's it, hey, so be it. If a guy doesn't feel like he should be on the field or isn't mentally into it, I think it's a danger to himself and maybe other players if he's out there on the field. Could he have waited to the end of the game? I guess so, but he made a decision that was best for him. And at the end of the day, that's all we want, I think, as human beings, to make decisions that are best for us and our family. So, again, as a quitter myself, I didn't have an issue with it.
Mo, let's talk about your Cleveland Browns. Obviously, you are embedded with that local media. You talk all the time. The Browns fans have the CS parted, as we said earlier. Moses has raised out his rod, if you will. The cooler lockers were unlocked. Bud Light gave out free beer. The Browns are on a streak. They are a winning streak. What is it like in the environment in Cleveland Browns local media, sir?
Well, I'll tell you, I was there, and I'm still somewhat drunk, halfway hungover. I haven't had a beer in a while, but watching those chains be released, and there's a video on my Twitter account at Mo Radio Show of when I was at, plus some other ones, and it was cool, man. It was really neat, and it felt like. And I know I heard some of you talking about how Browns fans, it's just a win in a regular season game, but the atmosphere in that stadium that night, man, was unreal. I was at the Super Bowl when the Colts won, and the atmosphere was akin to that, or even maybe a little bigger. When Baker Mayfield stepped on the field, the energy and the roar of that place was unbelievable. I mean, the people were cheering the new place kicker in warm-ups as he was making field goals. It was unbelievable. And I was also in Cleveland when my Cubs won the World Series, and and went to the parade, and to see people cheer like that. It was like that in Cleveland that night. It was just unbelievable. People just still in the streets, happy. It was a sight. Now you've got to move on and try to win another football game. I think at this point, the most of the talk now in our area is about Hugh Jackson and making the quarterback decision. To me, there's no decision to make. I think Hugh Jackson's got to hitch his wagon to Baker Mayfield and try to keep his job and win some football games. It's sad to see. Here's the problem for me in Cleveland is that I like Tyrod Taylor a lot. Just a few times in the locker room with him, it seems like a really good dude, a good leader on the football team, and a good quarterback. I thought what happened to him in Buffalo was dirty by those guys. The problem is I think that fans tend to like Tyrod Taylor, but obviously they want their Baker Mayfield. So that's the only sad part of it is to see, probably Tyrod Taylor hit the bench. But most of the talk, since after the win now, and especially this morning so far, has been about will Hugh Jackson make the decision to play Baker Mayfield. I think he will. I think over the last day or so, and after the game, he was saying all the right things to protect his other quarterback, Tyrod Taylor. But it seems like it's Baker Mayfield time in Cleveland now, and the fans, man, are stoked. I'm so happy I get to be there because it was such a cool atmosphere.
I bet it was, and I can tell you one thing. I'm not in a position to say yes or no, but if he does start Tyrod next week, he's going to be fired. So Mo, what do you got for? Ed, what do you got for Mo on the big win in Cleveland? And it's no longer the mistake on the lake.
Yeah, well, congratulations to the Browns, Mo. I saw that outpouring of emotion and love and support when the fans took to the streets, and it kind of reminded me of when the Eagles won the Super Bowl and, how the Eagles fans felt about that. But I had a question. It's interesting to hear Hugh Jackson talk about checking with the coaching staff and with the general manager, John Dorsey, as far as, who he's going to start at quarterback. Does John Dorsey have say over on-the-field decisions that Hugh Jackson makes? Why would he have to consult with John Dorsey on this decision? You would never hear like a Doug Peterson say, I got to see with Howie Roseman if Carson Wentz can play this week. Or Nick Foles. To me, it's just curious that he brings up John Dorsey in the decision-making process.
Until now, nobody has said it publicly or would say it, but make no mistake about it, John Dorsey is 100% in charge of this football team in all aspects, in my opinion. During training camp, there were a lot of on-field decisions being made at times, and during preseason games there were things that John Dorsey wanted. And I think at this point, Hugh Jackson knows, as you guys know, when a new GM comes in, the likelihood of a coach being retained, especially a team as bad as the Browns, is almost none. So I think at this point, Hugh realizes that his only shot is to be do what John Dorsey wants. It reminds me a lot, Ed, of the situation in Dallas, where a lot of people accuse their head coach of being a puppet for Jerry Jones. I wouldn't say that it's like that with Hugh, but John Dorsey has immersed himself in this football team, which I guess is, what Cleveland's wanted for so long is to have a front office that's confident and that, they really feel like they're making moves to make this football team better. One move that was made, with Denzel Ward, Ed, you and I talked about this with Tom, I think, right after the draft, that, what were they doing picking Denzel Ward? We had the dreams of Bradley Chubb and Myles Garrett playing with each other, but, Denzel Ward has been impressive, and I, for one, on my radio show just yesterday said, apologize to the Browns and their front office, because I was such a D-bag to them by criticizing that pick so much, but, it seems that they made the right pick for that football team at this time. But, yeah, Dorsey is immersed in every aspect of this football team, including the coaching staff. And, there's been a few disagreements between Todd Haley and John Dorsey off the field here and there. But, yeah, John Dorsey's run this football team in every aspect.
Yeah,
Mo, no, go ahead, Ed. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Mo, I could even go one better. I didn't like the pick of Denzel Ward, and I remember talking with you, and I even questioned the move to draft Baker Mayfield first overall. And, it's looking like I'm wrong about that, too, because, Mayfield really showed me something in that game, the way he just came out with no fear, no hesitation, and, after getting limited reps probably as the backup quarterback, during the week. But he came out, showed he had a good control of the game plan, and he wasn't afraid to make quick decisions and just throw that ball all over the place. So I was really impressed, and I questioned that move of drafting Mayfield, but now I kind of have to recount that too because I think Mayfield can play, and I think the Browns, with him at quarterback, are just going to keep getting better and better.
Yeah, me too. You know, what I think is that I think that Sam Darnold may be the